You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. We were all ready to start talking Cavs. I got a really funny tweet. I got a hilarious tweet. We're going to talk Browns this morning. There's news on Watson, or not on Watson, on Jed Wills, and I tweeted out about Watson's contract. Somebody tweeted back that I should really give Jack Duffin a follow.
Jack who?
You mean the guy that comes on our show? The guy that we've talked to
Who's that?
5 times? We're going to have Jack on next week. Can I send a moment? Can I send a tweet back? What should I say?
I think I heard of that guy.
Yeah, we have Jack on our show often, and probably
Is that the Cat Money
again
Man?
next week to talk free agent. We have discussed it. Sorry. Completely derailed how I was going to start the show. We're going to talk Cavs. We got Browns. Russ going to Pittsburgh. Somebody goes, have you heard of Jack Duffin? Hey, do you follow Jack Duffin? Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Zach on Twitter. I don't mean to down you there, Zach. And we have Jack on our show often. Probably again, we've discussed it. Because there is a big philosophical difference about the Watson deal, and Jack and I stand on opposite sides of the fence on that. We've talked that. We have. Speaking of the OBR, Noah Weiskopf joining us today. 10:15 for Noah. He's been all over this Flacco stuff. He's on the inside with that. I can't wait to talk to Noah coming up at 10:15. We're on a hot streak. Immaculate Grid coming up. Timeout morning update. A beautiful Friday right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. Yes, we have heard of Jack Duffin. Yes, we've heard of Jack. And all right, let's start Browns. After we're all going to start Cavs, I still want to post our Cavs Twitter question this morning. Are you just focused on the playoffs now? Have you entered the Ryan Tyler mindset? However you want to put that up for the Twitter question this morning, Ryan, do it. He's thinking hard over there. The look on your
Are
face.
you done? Are you done evaluating this Cavs team until the playoffs start?
I kind of just have you gone LeBron mode, ... call me when the playoffs start with the Cavs. Something like that. Call me when the playoffs start when it comes to the Cavs. We got to talk some wine and gold. They're in action tonight. We do have our typical boost up, but we're going to divert. We're going to get right to the Browns because it happened this morning that Tom Pelissaro reporting, and it's been reported, Chris Easterling, Mary Kay, and Scott Petrak, everybody's got this now, that the Browns have converted Jed Wills' 10-point-something million into a signing bonus. It was his guaranteed fifth-year option, and they free up some more cap space. And I sent the tweet about waiting for Watson. And to Zach's tweet about what Jack has said, Jack and I are on the opposite sides of this. And Jack is a capologist. This is what he does for the OBR. He knows a lot more than I do. And Jack's whole point has been the Browns, to maintain the most amount of flexibility, need to keep spreading the money out. And the whole point of this deal was to do that, keep kicking the can down the road. Now, my side of it is the flexibility of potentially having to get out of Watson's deal and eating a big chunk of that money this year. You got to pay that money at some point. And I think with the salary cap jumping, you could take that $30 million that is bonus money to you and say, we're going to tack that onto Watson's deal. And we're going to take that on out, and we'll restructure all these other people. There's still options for other restructures. They will so think about this. They've already done Denzel. That got them under the salary cap, right? And I think with 7 to work with?
About.
You now have 10 with the Wills restructure. You get me the Nick Chubb restructure, which will happen. Maybe free up another 7, something like that. You maybe restructure Amari Cooper. I don't know about Myles Garrett because the one site that I checked made it sound like he was already restructured. I don't think you need to touch Watson this year. And that is, I'm just going to call it for what it is. That's paving the potential out of Deshaun Watson's deal here in Cleveland. And this has been the conversation that we've had over and over and over and over and over again, and where Flacco fits into all of that and what money that they need. And Josh Dobbs said he'd come back to Cleveland, certainly. You just got to start connecting the dots on some of this. And I think the Browns are approaching it the right way. the flexibility of the money versus the flexibility of having to potentially get out of Watson's deal. And Jack is right. You're not getting out of this deal now. And he even kind of makes a point you might not be able to get out of it next year. Next year's a little easier to do. And that really next year starts the opening. It's not wide open, but it starts that opening. And it gets back to Watson and Flacco. You got to play well, and I all of it. I get all of it. I really do. But I just think it's interesting to watch how they're going to navigate this offseason. I just saw you pulled up Chris Jones' money. What does Christian Wilkins want now? $25 million?
Christian, I'm on Spo Track. According to that, it's Christian Wilkins 20 mil, about 20.2.
Okay, that's a lot of money.
And then Chris Jones leads it with 28.
Yeah, and he ain't coming here. He's going to go back to Kansas City, I think. And what the Browns do, because I also thought about this question. We'll probably post it on Monday because we'll be starting before the legal tampering period. How much of a splash do you expect the Browns to make? Now, they need to be under the salary cap. They've got to have some flexibility. And you do see a lot of really good players getting cut and salary cap casualties left and right. But the thing you got to remember, and why we're in this situation with Watson, you only release guys when they don't live up to their contract. Jamal Adams isn't playing for the Seattle Seahawks anymore because he's not worth that money anymore. Christian Wilkins, that's a different one. I guess it shouldn't be all these guys. But Christian Wilkins, they got other guys they have to pay down there. Somebody's got to go. You remember when the 49ers got rid of DeForest Buckner? And Nick Bosa was pissed. And they go, we can't pay everybody, man.
They got to pay two up there in Miami.
They got to pay two in Miami. They're down there. They're going to have to eventually pay Jalen Waddle. I know it's not anytime soon, but you got to start prepping for all of that. And you still need some moves. You still need some flexibility to go out there and get a free agent or two. It's all circling around right now. And I do feel positive about the Browns situation. I feel really good. This is not something that I'm entering this saying, woe is us. Mostly because you only need a couple of guys. You only need a couple. I got this. We'll get to it later. From NFL.com, the 3 spots every team needs in free agency. They went through every single team and the 3 spots they have to address in free agency. I'm assuming you can guess the 3 for the Browns. Go ahead.
Obviously wide receiver.
Correct.
D tackle.
Correct.
Linebacker?
No.
Okay. Well, they do need linebacker. Unless they bring back Taki. But DN.
Which I also thought was weird. Well, offensive tackle.
Why?
I don't know. They write about the right tackle spot, I think after Dwan Jones went out, was really bad, and then they wonder about Jack Conklin. Conklin's another deal you got to keep your eye on there.
I'd look at linebacker before tackle.
I mean, if you're in this mindset that both Conklin and Wills will be gone after this season, you're only going to have one starting tackle, I could see a draft one. Sure. I don't know about signing one. But yeah, wide receiver and D tackle, as we know, the 3 positions laid out. And I'm starting Monday with the legal tampering period, in a real good spot with the Browns. I feel really good about it. And these are procedural moves, but I'm sorry, Ryan. I can't look at it and say that this is not somehow connected. I really think the Browns are trying to avoid the restructure on Watson's deal. That's the right thing to do. You got to take a chunk out of this. Also, what that means, there's still an opening that Deshaun Watson turns it around and is the guy, and then you just re-sign him to another deal. When they signed Watson at $230 fully guaranteed, what did everybody say? And Andrew Berry himself said this. This was meant to be a 10-year thing. We dove into the deep end of this pool, man. We're going to make this deal now, but we'll restructure and eventually re-sign, and hopefully he's our guy for a long time. Well, now you question it, but there's still that opening. There is still that availability to redo the deal for more money. No player will ever turn their nose up to a deal that gets them more money. That's easy. It's when you go and say, all right, we got to squeeze you a little bit here. We need a pay cut or we need to get out of this. Deshaun Watson's set for life. After taxes, after agent fees, I don't know, probably what, $160, something like that? A little less than that? That's fine. I think we could all make a really good living on that. That's just fine. But the Browns as the team, it's one of the things I'm looking at. And they could restructure them on Monday. They could come out Monday and say, yep, we got to restructure it. I just think it's interesting. Instead of taking the big chunk, they're trying to do all these smaller ones first. And I think that's telling you where the Browns' mindset is. I don't mind that. I like that. I think it's the right path to go down right now with this team. I do.
Matt, would you rather have, let me ask you this, would you rather have Christian Wilkins and then you go ahead and maybe you sign a Devontae Parker and then you draft a receiver, or
I saw some bad Devontae Parker stats yesterday.
I did too.
Did you see on Warren Sharp? He has no separation.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Like of the not just last year,
4 years.
4
Dead
years
last,
he
4
was
years.
dead last in separation. Well, maybe we can fix him. Who knows? I don't know.
So that scenario, A, Christian Wilkins, you go
Okay.
get Devontae Parker, and then maybe obviously still draft a receiver, or you go hit on a Mike Williams, a Calvin Ridley, and then you draft a D.
Oh, I'd rather have Calvin Ridley. Yeah,
Yes.
I'd rather. I mean, in almost any of those scenarios, what you're talking about too is a truncated pool of money you can pull from. We're not one of the bottom feeders that has $80 million. Go out there and spend all the live long day. You're going to ask guys to take some deals here. And there are guys in positions. Christian Wilkins, not taking a deal. Calvin Ridley, not taking a deal. Those guys are going to ask for top dollar, and they will probably get it somewhere. That is the competition that is on. Where the Browns have failed are certain positions where they have missed draft. What are the 2 biggest positions, Ryan? Wide receiver and D tackle. What are the 2 positions we haven't hit on in the draft? Now, we've not had first-round picks, which is the tough thing. But you've not even hit on these 3rd round, 5th round, any of these guys that you have pegged to try to pick up some of this slack. We'd be in a lot different world if we had a drafted receiver that we felt confident being our number 2. Maybe it's Ed Tillman. I don't know. He only had 1 year, down year, injuries, all that. We'll figure it out. The whole point of how you operate your team, you are meant to draft your stars and keep the best teams out there. Draft well and keep their players. And then, make a big splash and go trade for Tyreek Hill. Make a big splash and go trade for Christian McCaffrey. Sure, I get those type of moves. But the reason you're allowed to do that or have the flexibility to do it, you got a bunch of guys on cheap deals, playing above their contract, playing above what they should be making. There are some examples of that. MJ Emerson is outplaying his contract. Grant Delpit was. Now he's on a new deal. Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah. Don't forget that, too. That deal's got to get done.
It's another 10 mil.
Not necessarily for this year, though. What you could do is tack it on at the end because he's got one more year on his rookie deal. Say, play on that. Here's your signing bonus to, compensate you for this season, and then tack on 3 years after that. That's what I would hope that they would do.
It might cost you more, though, if he plays well.
Sure. Well, I mean, the other thing is Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah ready to go for a deal? I've not heard anything on that.
I haven't either.
I'm not saying, and I believe that that'll get done. I'm not worried about it. But that's one that I look at. I'm like, okay, that's money you got to account for too.
Who's the last linebacker we threw that many bones at?
A true linebacker? Did we re-sign Jamie Collins? I know we traded for him. I think we re-signed him to a deal. Like true line, like we paid for Paul Kruger, overpaid for him, but he was a pass rusher, he was an outside linebacker. I don't know. DeQuell Jackson, did he get a deal here? I think he did. I mean, you're right. I can't think of the last linebacker the Browns threw serious money at. And that's a dying position in the NFL anyway. But when you follow the money, when you see what the Browns are trying to do, Ryan, I think it just continues to keep coming out to how I feel about it. You got to take a chunk out of this Watson deal now. It's the right thing to do. This could all blow up. Next week, they go, yep, we're going to restructure it. You don't have to restructure all of it either, by the way. You could do a little part of it. But I just think it's super interesting that the big one that's staring you in the face, they're like, well, let's go do some of the other ones first. Let's go do that. And I'd be sitting here telling you, I expect Nick Chubb and again, maybe Amari Cooper, and if Miles can be done, I don't even know if he can or can't. Wyatt Teller, some of those guys, I'd expect that to be first. And then I'll feel really confident that they're not going to touch that Watson money. Take a thought on that. If they don't, let's say they play out the offseason and they don't restructure that Watson deal. What does that signify to everybody, including Deshaun Watson? Yeah, man, we're going to look for a back door out of this thing. Would that then not be enough pressure on him? When everybody talks about bringing Joe Flacco here, one of the things was putting a little heat on Deshaun Watson. You could do that by just saying, man, we're not restructuring your deal here. And we're starting to look that way. The other side is Watson could get, I don't know how he could get mad. It's a smart move to make. It's the right move to make at this point in the juncture. And it comes back to, again, what they want to do with Flacco or how they want to handle all that. We're going to talk to Noah at 10:15. I'm really excited to hear what he has to say about it. I'm not conditioned that Flacco's going to come back. If the needle was pointing one way, I would say yes. I think it's leaning that way. And the rant I went on yesterday about trying to see through it a little bit of the game that he's playing, my dad texted me. He's like, I see exactly what you're talking about. I'm like, I know, right? Like, he just wants to come back. He's making that extremely well known. And the Browns are letting it leak out that they want him back. It's all a game, man. It's all a game. I'm Flacco and the Browns on all of that. And the money game that they're playing right now is the one that I'm keeping my eye on. All right, we got to talk Russ in Pittsburgh coming up because I thought they didn't want a quarterback. Now apparently that's supposed to be a thing. A few other things with the Browns, but we got to start some Cavs here as well. They're back in action tonight as they take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. They will not have Karl-Anthony Towns, but again, no Mitchell, no Mobley, no Max Strus tonight. How bad is this Max Strus injury?
Yeah, what's going on with that?
How bad is that? I don't know.
I mean, does it really hurt us that bad, though?
No, I think it does. He spaces the floor for you.
Yeah.
He's not one of those guys where the people that I follow that I really trust that watch basketball, that know basketball, they talk a lot about the spacing on the floor with Evan Mobley being out there. I know he's not out there tonight, but the whole point is watch the next time that Evan Mobley takes a three. They don't guard him. They don't guard him. They go, take it. You're going to make it, that's fine, but go ahead and take that. You can't do that with Max Strus. And that's why I think Isaac Okoro, who we need tonight in our boost, they have to now guard him out there. He's not a 40% three-point shooter, but he's good enough that you can't let him have an open look. So I think Strus has an important part on this team, sure, and I'd like him back out there for his toughness as well and all that kind. But the Cavs are shorthanded again tonight. They take on the Timberwolves. You're at home. I'm shocked to say it's almost a pick-em game. It was only 1 point I saw. A little favor there for the Timberwolves. A low 207 over. So we'll get to our boost coming up a little bit. Ryan, you had this take earlier this week. And this is our Twitter question this morning at Matt Fontana Show. Have you now adopted the mindset of call me when the playoffs start? When we had LeBron here, we did that from the jump. From the start of the season. You had a couple of marquee games throughout the year. Usually it was the Warriors on Christmas. We'd always usually play them on MLK Day again, too. Then whoever else in the East, whether it's the Raptors or whoever else that you felt like was competition. But really, out of an 82-game season, you maybe had 8 games that you actually gave a damn about when LeBron was here. And it was just call me when the playoffs started. And even in that last year, when you were the 4 seed, people still felt confident enough that LeBron was going to take you to the finals, and lo and behold, he did. This team, we got geared up for that 2 seed, and I did too. Then these injuries hit. The mentality of the team, the toughness that Celtics won, all that. Is it time with 20 games to go? You still have 20 games to go. We got, 6 weeks of basketball still left before the playoffs? Are you all ready? Just call me when the playoffs start. That inherently has a negative connotation to it. Because what you're trying to say is, we're in a bad spot right now, and I'm just going to shut down. And I'm going to close my eyes, I'm going to put these blinders on, and I'm not going to worry about the rest of the regular season. You're doing that to guard yourself against things getting worse. Because right now, we're on this trend of things going pretty bad. What you got to open yourself up for is that it turns around. Again, with 20 games left. These guys could come back and go on a streak to end the season, make you feel better, and we're back in the 2-seed hunt here, and we're in the playoffs, and here we go. I'm interested to see how people vote on that. Ryan, you're pretty steadfast. You're ready to go for the playoffs. You're about like, here's the thing. You probably just want to cancel the rest of the regular season because you know that things are going bad, and all we're doing is signing for more injuries, potentially, or more bad play, right?
Well, it's just the place I'm at right now is there's really not much I can gather when we're throwing out lineups there without three out of our 5 starters. It's hard to really gather there. Yeah, you want to see them pick up momentum, but the way I look at it is you're in the 3 seed right now. You have a 3.5 game lead from the Magic, who are in the 4th spot. So I'd like to assume that in no way, shape, or form our basement is that 3 seed still. And if we get to the 2 seed, absolutely, that's amazing. I don't really expect that because the Bucks are playing pretty decently well here. So it's like, factor that in with, I think there's no way we drop to that 4 seed fingers crossed, knock on wood.
Right.
It's like, okay, no, nothing that happens right here is truly going to matter in the sense of everything I'm basing off of Donovan Mitchell's future here in Cleveland, which is obviously the main part because without him, you're in a bad spot, right?
Right.
Nothing that matters. It only matters what we do in the playoffs. Like imagine a first round exit. Nothing. Even if we win 15 out of these last 20 without 3 of our 5 starters, it's like that's fine. But if you go there, you get a first round exit. It's like that changes everything. So I have nothing really left for these last 20 games. But that's not me saying I'm not going to watch. That's not me saying I want them to do well. And it's not. And that's not me saying that it's not important. Because I agree, momentum's everything headed into that playoff spot. It's just right now I can't gather much from this Cavs team, so I'm kind of just waiting to see what happens in the playoffs.
The other thing is you're going to have to send and allot some time for these guys to get back into the swing of things. So the 20 games left, it's not just snap your fingers, they come back, you're back into this. You're going to have to allow some time for the build back up. I hate these words of minute restrictions because that means you're coming off an injury. But also, dude, look across. Now Steph's down with an ankle. Everybody's getting hurt all of a sudden. I mean, it's bad timing is what it is. You don't want Steph Curry going down. I mean, you don't want him going on the playoffs, but now you don't want these guys going down. Cost us our boost last night. Damn it.
You want to get to it?
You want it? You got to get it already. Yeah, let's go. Friday boost. Here we go, Cavs. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. 3-legger for us today. I am a sucker for a 2-0. You just have to take a 207 over. I mean, in today's NBA, I know that they're missing players. I know the other day when it was 209, they didn't get it. I don't care. You have to take a 207 over. So we're going to take that. We're going to add Isaac Okoro to hit a couple of threes tonight. I think I added Darius Garland in that. Did I not?
20-plus points.
There it is. Boom. What do we boost it up to there, young Ryan, on Tipico?
Plus 404.
Let's get right to it. Here's what you do. You head on over to Tipico. Download the app. Use the code Fontana100. Deposit and bet $25. You get $100 in bonus bets. Let's see where we got here. Got some college boosts tonight. There. Wow. All right, we're going to get back into this right now. What do you think? I'm thinking a nice little 15 action tonight. 15 plays 75. 15 to 75. I'm in. And I'm working up towards another cashback rewards on my parlay there for Tipico. We love our friends at Tipico, folks. The boosts are a plenty right now. Just in the promotions. You know what? And again, I don't know if everybody has these, but I think they do. I've got a $10 protected parlay on soccer. I've got a $10 protected parlay on college basketball. I've got a $5 parlay protected on the NHL. Nice win for my Jackets last night. Here's a cool one. The point leader protection. A $10 protected bet on the leading scorer on NBA top scorer wager. That's a pretty interesting one there. Tipico's got it, folks. The rewards are up, cashback, the imperfect parlay. Love betting with our friends at Tipico, so get geared up for that. Boost for tonight. They went a little Ohio College. Bowling Green to beat Ball State. Dayton to take down Virginia Commonwealth. And Akron to beat Western Michigan. That's plus 158. Another one. Cavs to beat the Timberwolves. OU to beat Miami. And Toledo to beat Kent. 338 boosted odds there on Tipico. I love very much. Here's our thoughts on tonight for the Cavs. Again, a 207, I've got to take that. I just, there's no way that I can't take that. And as far as the trend for the Cavs, it's a lot of under, again, because they've not been playing well. A trend historically between the Timberwolves, the over has hit 11 out of the last 16 games between the Cavs and the Timberwolves. So you'll see that. The issue, though, we're 1-5 against the spread their last 6 games at home. Talking about the Cavs. We are 0-5 against the spread our last 5 games against Minnesota. 2-9 against the spread our last 11 games. But Minnesota not covering right now either. They're only 1-5 against the spread their last 6 games, but they're 9-3 straight up. And as I mentioned, they've kind of owned the Cavs. 6-1 against the spread their last 7. 5-2 straight up in their last 7 games against the Cavs. Minnesota has covered their last 5 games over there at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. So it's only a 1 point. It might as well go pick them tonight, for the Timberwolves. Ryan, do you look at this game tonight? They're without Karl Anthony Towns, as we know. And Anthony Edwards has an ankle, but he's probable to play tonight. Man, would that shift if he didn't play tonight. But I'm assuming he will. Do you look at this game as another important one for us? I mean, it is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I look at them and say they just lost a close game to the Clippers, which was a great game, and they took it down to the wire against Sacramento. Do you consider the Timberwolves one of the best teams in the NBA? Statistically, standings-wise, you're supposed to, right? They're still leading the West. But you look at any of the odds to win the championship, and they're not the favorite. Look at this meat grinder that is the West. The top 4 teams are separated by just 3 games. And if the Cavs at 40-22, we're in the 3 seed right now, a half game out of 2. If that was us, we'd be in the 5 seed right now in the West. Yeah. How much do you buy with the Timberwolves? Are you looking at tonight's game? Again, they're without Cat. We're without some of our guys. Do you look at this game to say that this is a prove me game, prove me something here for the Cavs because the Timberwolves are a good team? Or do you look at it as we're down so many guys, I'm going to roll the basketball out and see how it goes?
I mean, obviously you'd like to see them show at least some fight on the road against a good team, but it's like if they lose, then I'm just going to sit here and say, okay, we were without 3 of our 5 starters. But if you win, it's like, oh my God, a great win for the Cavs. Hopefully you would think would build momentum.
It also depends how they do it, man, because they've not been coming out with fire. Like, how many of these games we get smoked for 3 quarters and then go on an 8-minute stretch? Yeah. That doesn't play in the playoffs.
Yeah, I would like to see a complete game where they're actually playing up to the level that you would expect them. But in terms of a team like the Timberwolves, I don't know what really to expect because you go look at the West, two of the top teams. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. What are the Thunder, the 2 seed now?
Yeah, they're only half game back.
I mean, both those teams are so young. Like, none of them have playoff experience. Anthony Edwards, I don't think ever been to playoffs except maybe playing game. I mean, Cat, okay, he's still he doesn't have that much playoff experience. And then you go to the Thunder, Chet, Shai, Josh Giddey. They don't even have any playoff experience. So it's like if you were to ask me like a team like the Lakers who are struggling though in a 7-game series, I'm gonna go take the Lakers or I'm gonna go take the Warriors over them because I feel like that's the same thing that happened to the Cavs. You don't just walk into the playoffs. I don't care if you're the 1 seed, whatever. Go play these vets that have 100+ games in the playoffs and win a series. It just doesn't happen.
The other thing about this stretch that they're about to go on is, again, more understanding of what this team looks like without Evan Mobley, without without Donovan Mitchell. And that's why I put 20 points for Darius in our boost tonight. I need this, man. I need it for Darius. I want to shut all of this down. I want to have the positivity that Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland can coexist, that Evan Mobley and Jared Allen can coexist. I don't have that right now. I don't. And I can add in the injury issues that I have with Mobley. Garland took yet another shot in that game the other night against the Hawks. I know he's struggling through some things right now. Isaac Okoro's banged up, whatever. I want Darius, and I'm not saying it's tonight. Save this clip if he did. I'm waiting for that 40-point explosion game. I'm waiting for this game where he just takes off.
It's not gonna happen, man.
I hope so. I don't know. I have no idea what to get. And that's a scary thing to be said about the one guy that on this team is paid up other than Jared Allen, paid up even more. The ascension of Jared Allen can't be understated either, man. Where I think you have flipped so much for Kobe Altman. I know you don't have to make these decisions today. You look at it now as the future of the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen. I hate that statement. I hate saying that. And that's a negative against those guys, which I don't mean. They're here. That's great. But what we thought is not quite where we live right now. Because Jared Allen, night in and night out, is proving that he has got to be a future of this team. With the new CBA, with how the NBA is set up, you cannot have 3 guys on max deals. You just can't do that. It penalizes you so much from doing anything else that you just can't. They busted it. They didn't want these 3 guys. Now, 2 is fine. 2 is fine. Donovan's 1, I hope. But man, Jared Allen, who's on his way. I mean, all defense, maybe. I don't think he's going to make all NBA. That's a really hard. I mean, that's tough. I never thought I'd be rooting against the guy to not make, because if he did, man, that escalator.
That's what I'm saying.
But no joke, man, he's playing to an all-NBA level. He's playing absolutely amazing. So it's going to have to be him. It's going to have to be Darius Garland.
Matt, did you see that that Draymond Larry Bird stat?
Yeah, that he passed him finally for three-point shooting, which is crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
I mean, Draymond, I don't want to say is a compiler, but like he's played a long career. He's a Hall of Famer. As much as we don't like Draymond here and all the antics and all that other kind of stuff, he's going to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, there's no question on that. And you wonder about what that team would look like or not without him. We'll see. One other thing I do want to mention before we flip back to some Browns here coming up, I do want to do a boost tomorrow for the UFC. They're all weighing in right now, big UFC fight tomorrow. And then I saw Anthony Josh. Do we have boxing on Tipico?
I don't know.
Because we got that big Joshua Ngannou fight. Anthony Joshua was a heavy favorite for that fight tomorrow. That's, dude, tomorrow morning, I think. It's at like 10 a.m. So I think they're fighting in the Middle East somewhere. But I might get a little UFC action in. You want to send that over to Nick? When we do that tomorrow, we'll send it up tomorrow?
Yeah.
Do you have any input? You're a UFC fan, right?
Yeah.
You want to set the boost a little bit later?
I mean, the problem is you don't want him to win, but Sean O'Malley's
He's
like
not going to win. I'm telling you
he's
right now.
He's like minus 270.
He's not going to win. There's no way. I got MMA.
What do you mean there's no way?
Oh, I got boxing. Hell yeah, I got boxing on here. Let's go.
You do realize Sugar Sean's going to knock him out.
He is not. Cheeto's going to win.
No, he's not.
He is.
Then I hope you're throwing a lot of money on that because he's like plus 300.
I will. Watch me on Tipico. Anthony Joshua is minus 320. Minus 320 to beat Francis Ngannou.
I just can't get behind boxing after I watched Ngannou just absolutely beat Fury.
He's a freak. I'm not saying he's not.
It's just rigged.
Did you see them weigh in, though? There's not many people in this world that Francis Ngannou has to look up at, and Anthony Joshua is one of them. I like Anthony Joshua. You like him do you like him by KO minus 105?
I like Ngannou.
You like Ngannou? Take him by knockout, 350?
He should have beat Fury.
Ngannou by decision is plus 1,100. That's where you can make some cash if you're really on Fury Ngannou for tomorrow. A good weekend of fights. Good weekend of fights coming up. It's interesting how things turn about the Pittsburgh Steelers, too. All these reports that they didn't want a quarterback, and they're going to ride it out with Kenny Pickett, and now all of a sudden, apparently they're the favorite to get Russell Wilson. Would that make you afraid? Would that scare you if Russell... I was all about keeping Justin Fields away from the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think I want Russ going there either.
I could care less.
You really think Russ is cooked?
I don't necessarily...
Like you just think he's done?
I don't think he's cooked, but it doesn't bother me because at the end of the day, if we can't beat them with Russ, then it doesn't matter. We have no business being a great team that's going to go to the playoffs. Okay, that's not fair actually, because the Steelers, it's a division game. They're rivals. They play us hard no matter what. But at the end of the day, that's not the catalyst that the Steelers are going to have that really frighten me. Unless they got like a Kirk Cousins, I'm not.
Would Fields scare you?
That's the thing.
More than Russ, but not as much as Kirk.
That's the thing, though. I don't like being. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm scared of any
I shouldn't
team.
say scared,
but I know the point you're making is but no, I'm like, there's nobody that the Steelers could bring in at quarterback right now that would sit here and say they belong in a tier that I think have a chance to stop the Browns.
I mean, here's my thing. I don't want them to get anybody that could potentially turn it around. I have no problem admitting that. I don't like the Steelers. I don't want to see them successful. So whether or not it's the longest shot of all long shots about how bad Russ Wilson is, I don't even want the opportunity for them to fix him and be a thing. I don't want it, so I don't want him going there. I'd love to see Kenny Pickett again for another season. Because we know that the Steelers, how they just drag their way to the playoffs every year. I don't know how they do it, but they do. I don't want them getting Russell Wilson. No. Is Russ probably cooked? Yeah. I don't want to find that out in Pittsburgh. Let Russell Wilson go somewhere else. But it's also just really interesting how that they were steadfast. No, we don't go. Now all of a sudden, like, wait a minute. We're going to meet with Russ here in a little bit. It tells you what they know. It tells you they have no faith in Kenny Pickett. So imagine that, too. They don't get Russ. They've created a big old storm over there. And granted, nobody that's a Steelers fan, the ones that I do know that are my family, they don't like Kenny Pickett either. I don't think he's the answer. So they're waiting for them to do something. It's also this giant circle that I think of waiting to see what happens. We know what's going to happen with Justin Fields, but when the Bears decide to pull the trigger on this, Monday's going to be a crazy day. Legal tampering starts on Monday. And waiting for the Kirk Cousins domino, waiting for the Justin Fields domino. Somebody's going to get impatient. Somebody's going to pull the trigger on something because they don't want to wait it out on the chance that they're going to miss out. The other thing, there's only so many jobs available. This kind of ties back to the Flacco conversation that we've had. Of course he wants to come back to the Browns. There's not actually that many jobs available. When you think of the 5 or 6 legitimate jobs that are available at quarterback, there's probably 5 or 6 guys to fill that. And teams are going to, they get worried because they don't want to be left out. It's a giant game of musical chairs. You don't want to be the one sitting there waiting, looking for a quarterback, and you got to go find your Jimmy Garoppolo. Or wait, we missed out on this guy. We got to go. And I do think, I guess maybe the Steelers would suffice this. There would be a sleeper team that shows up and says, you know what? We're actually changing trajectory here. And we're going to go find a quarterback, or we're going to go sign one in free agency as opposed to drafting one, or you thought you had somebody there. We know the teams that are in this. We know the Falcons need a quarterback. We got to see what Minnesota does. We're waiting to see what the Bears are going to do with that pick. Washington needs one. The Patriots need one. If Baker goes back to Tampa, fine.
Vegas, Denver.
Vegas, Denver. What do? Doesn't Flacco just make a lot of sense to go back to Denver? Right? He was there.
No, he wasn't.
He was. Why do I picture?
Oh, wait. Yeah, maybe he was.
Yeah, no. I can picture.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely
going back
right.
to the Immaculate Grid. I could picture Joe Flacco in a Denver jersey.
Now I think about it. I do think you're right.
Yeah, he went there right after the Ravens. He went Ravens, Jets. I forgot he was on the Eagles. I think that had to have been like a practice squad thing or backup. Then back to the Jets, and then obviously with the Browns. NFL Comeback Player of the Year, Joseph Vincent Flacco there. All these jobs are going to circle around, and then eventually you're going to have to figure out who's going where. But there's going to be a team that makes that move first. I just want on the record, I don't want Russell Wilson going there.
I don't care.
Is it because you just think Russell Wilson's bad? Or you just think that even if he went there, we're still good enough to beat the Steelers?
Yeah, the latter. Like, in no way, shape, or form do I think Russ puts them up to the level of that I think they're a serious.
Is Russ done?
He's not done.
Okay.
Like, we see quarterbacks.
Do you think Russell Wilson's going to ever make the playoffs again?
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say the Steelers.
We don't know where he's going to go. Well, that's what I said. We don't know where he's going to go either.
I mean, he's a serviceable quarterback, but he's not like. We've certainly seen the best of him.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's where some of these teams I'm not diving into. We're going to find our future. We're going to find our guy, and we'll see. You're going to go with Jack, like the tweet. He goes, we have Jack on our show very often, by the way. Love Jack. We'll have him on next week. He did his full breakdown of all of the free agents, too. By the way, Jake Burns next week, too. All the OBR guys. They do a great job over there. I have to get Fred Greetham on. I love Fred. Talk hunting with. You know what? Most of the conversations I had with Fred out in Berea were about hunting. My brothers hunt. He hunts. That time of the year, just talk about the bucks my brothers took down. Fred got a nice one a couple of years ago. I'll have to get him on as well. All right, let's do this. Let's catch our break. When we come back, I want to dive back into the Cavs a little bit. I got a few more things with the Browns. We'll get to. Oh no! Wait a minute. We got to do the Immaculate Grid. Yeah. That's right. Do you even want to break, or do you want to get right to the Immaculate Grid? Let's do a break. I said we're going to break. Let's tell you about our friends at Tipico. Get signed up. When we come back, the Immaculate Grid. We got to do it a little early this morning. Maybe you're joining us at a new time. We have not done the Immaculate Grid this early. We'll explain it all. Ryan and I are on a hot streak right now. A little bit of a hot streak. We'll keep it going on a Friday. The Immaculate Grid comes your way next. All right, Ryan, let's get right to it. The Immaculate Grid on a Friday. Here's how it works. A little earlier in the day for us. We had Noah Weiskopf coming up in about half an hour, 10:15 for Noah to talk everything Joe Flacco. So you're watching a new time. Like, what the hell is Immaculate Grid? I'll tell you. So you see this over here, right? You got to go up and down, and you got to go left and right. So we need a Bills Saints, we need a Cowboys Jets, and then what's that final one?
1,000-yard receiving season.
So we got to fill that out. Ryan and I are hot streak. Let's see if we can get it done. We have 9 minutes to do the Immaculate Grid here today. And we start right now. Ryan, start. Here we go.
All right, let's rip Diggs. He didn't play for
Rip
the Saints
Diggs.
or Jets.
Mari Cooper.
Yep. And Tyreek Hill didn't play.
Yeah, that's fine. He played for the Bills. Fine, go there. All right, here we go. Saints-Bills. Why do I think... Oh, well, we could do Saints-Dolphins, Ted Ginn. I thought Saints-Bills first. Did he ever play for the Bills? TG?
Nah.
No, okay, so Saints-Dolphins, running Ted Ginn Jr. There we go. Bang, 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 done. Jets-Dolphins, Jason Trusnick. Yeah. Former Browns linebacker, my step-cousin, so I know that one for a fact. Here we go. All right. What's the rarity score on that one?
0.03%.
Hell yeah. Damn right.
Nardonia
All right.
alum.
Here we go. Saints.
You want to focus Saints or Jets?
Saints, because I feel like Saints-Cowboys, I wanted to shoot from the hip on a DB. But, like, Malik Hooker doesn't count. Because he never went to the Saints. It's all the other Ohio State guys that did. But the Saints-Cowboys is there's something there.
Andy Dalton played for the Cowboys, didn't he?
I believe he did.
Or am I tripping?
You might be tripping. Oh, no, he was the backup. No, he was the backup.
And he was in New Orleans.
Yeah. I know he was in New Orleans. I'm pretty sure he was the backup. Now, did he play in a game? I think he did. You're right.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, you're right. Andy Dalton. Good job. All right, good job. All right, Saints-Bills. Saints-Bills.
Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, yeah, good call. Yeah, good call.
Right? Oh, wait.
No,
Tyrod didn't play for the Saints.
No, he didn't play for the Saints. No, he didn't play for the Saints. No. But
he played for the Browns against the Saints.
Oh, Jets-Bills. Fitzmagic. The cheat code for this is Ryan Fitzpatrick. All right. We're on a good pace here. We're only 2 minutes in. Okay, here we go. Let's focus in on Bills Saints.
Okay.
Because I felt like Saints Bills. Quarterbacks. I don't know if I'm not getting a vibe that there's a quarterback that's standing.
Frank Gore ever played for the Saints?
No. Good pull on that though. No.
Latavius Murray. Did he play for the Bills? I don't know. Sounds good.
It sounds really good.
We'll save it in the back pocket.
Latavius Murray sounds really damn good.
Put it in the
there.
back pocket.
It sounds really good there. That does. Ooh. No. Adam Troutman came to mind, but I don't think he. No, I think he actually would have counted for the Cowboys, but don't need to worry about that. Jared Cook.
Did he play for the Bills?
I don't know. I think so, but I don't know. Jared Cook. Jimmy Graham never played for the Bills. No. There's punters, kickers.
Who are the quarterbacks? The Saints have had a lot of quarterbacks.
Well, yeah, Jameis, but he's still there. Dalton. And now it's Derek Carr. Yeah, we're looking for like the Nick Mullins of the world. Somebody that's been well-traveled, that got some time down there. I think we got a couple. Do you want to shift over and do the Cowboys, Jets, get that out of the way? Because I feel like we have some names. All right, so Jets, Cowboys. Linemen, I'm not smelling anything on the linemen. Jets quarterbacks. Gone to Dallas, nothing. Corners. Cromartie never played there in Dallas. CJ Mosley, no. What about, remember Jalen Smith, the linebacker? He came back with somebody, but I don't think it was the Jets. I don't think so. There's got to be a historic one, too, that we're forgetting here.
Yeah.
Like Herschel Walker or something like that.
T.O., he didn't play for the Jets, did he?
No, I don't think so. No. Man. I feel like we're hitting a roadblock right now. Things are slowing down for us a little bit on the Jets and the Cowboys. Jets, Cowboys, Jets, Cowboys, Jets, Cowboys, Jets, Cowboys, Jets, Cowboys. Huh. I feel like we never get any linemen on this either. Because they built that up. Like that, the line in Dallas is pretty much, they've drafted a lot of those guys. And then for the Jets, Nick Mangold, no. Did DeBrickashaw Ferguson ever go play for the Cowboys?
No idea.
I have no idea either. I don't think so. They drafted a lot of linemen back then. Damn, man. I don't know.
Should we rip Latavius Murray?
Yeah, I might as well. I feel pretty. I think you're right. Latavius Murray. I think you're right.
Did he play for the Bills?
I think so. I feel pretty confident on that. All right, good job. Staring down the barrel. We can't even. We're not even able to like.
Quarterbacks for the Jets, like
Mark Sanchez. I don't know why I feel like he went to Dallas, but the problem is when I say a name that I instantly picture that guy in that jersey, and then my head gets twisted and turning, thinking that I know that it's going to be that guy or something. Sam Darnold, no.
Brandon Cooks didn't play for the Jets.
No.
Gotta be some receiver.
Yeah, All right, let's see on the time here. Where are we at? All right, we got 2 minutes. Right. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Trying to go back an era. You know what I mean? Like, that's the toughest part of this, is trying to go back an era of Curtis Martin. No.
Dallas Clark ever play anywhere else?
No. Trying to go back. I know that there's going to be a running back that we're missing. I feel like there's a running back. I feel like they're really...
DeMarco Murray, did he play? No.
He went elsewhere, but I don't think he ever went to the Jets. Oh, man. I'm trying to picture the Romo years of all the guys. Did Keyshawn Johnson
play for the Jets, right?
No, I don't think so. Did Keyshawn play for the Jets?
I don't know. Le'Veon Bell was never a Cowboy.
No. Can I Google Keyshawn? I just want to see. For some reason. Put it in there. I'll count it. Come on. Put it in there. Come on. I felt good about it.
But you Googled it.
It doesn't matter. Put it in. Finish it out on a start. I came up with the name. I felt like it was a thing. He was drafted by the Jets, and I knew it. I knew that one.
Who's it?
Keyshawn Johnson. I knew it.
I feel dirty.
Why? All right.
It.
Well, we know we got it. Then come up with somebody else. Come up with somebody else. You got nothing. I'm telling you, just go Keyshawn. It's all right. I came up with it.
Right.
Keyshawn Johnson. That's a 3 in a row for us. Yeah, click it. See what else we got.
So for Cowboys Jets, we could have went Vinny Testaverde. He's always there. Mark Sanchez.
I thought so. I told you. I thought so.
When did Randall Cobb play for the Cowboys?
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. He did go there. I
don't recognize any of these other people. So.
All right. Well, that's a good pull there. What was another one that we really struggled? I mean, we really were struggling too many today. Click on another one. I just want to help us kind of figure out some other names here on some things.
Go
Cowboys Saints. see what else we could have pulled there.
Brandon Cooks, but we didn't need
Yeah, but we didn't need that, yeah.
Andy Dalton, the one we got.
Yeah.
Wade Wilson, Deadpool, apparently.
All right, apparently. Good job on that. Well done.
I don't recognize any of that.
All right, fair enough. All right, that's 3 in a row for us. The Immaculate
Jack Del Rio.
As a player? That's pretty funny. There you go. Jack Del Rio, done and done. All right, we'll keep the Immaculate Grid going. This was an important week for us, Ryan, to decide. I feel like we got our act together. We got 3 in a row there, so we're feeling good going into next week with the Immaculate Grid. Our Twitter question is up to dive back into the Cavs a little bit. Are you in the call me when the playoffs start mode with the Cleveland Cavaliers? Ryan, you have very clearly voted yes. I'm going to vote no on our Twitter question this morning because I still think there are important games to be played. I would like to hold on to that 2 seed. We know it's probably not going to happen. Or get back into the 2 seed, I should say. But I still think there's games that are important. I still think the mindset of the team, the rotations you're going to put out there, some of these players stepping up, I think these games are still important, so I'm going to vote no. I'm not in that mode just yet.
Yeah, just real quick. Russell Wilson spotted on a plane to Pittsburgh.
Dude, what? Okay, so that's happening. That's happening, by the way. Do you ever have this, like I have it, that you always just picture guys that they'll eventually make their way to this team and they'll play there? Why does Russell Wilson playing for the Steelers? I always felt like that was going to happen.
Really?
Yeah. You want to know another one? And again, it's hindsight, so I can always say that. I always felt Jadeveon Clowney would come play for the Browns one day. There was something about that I always felt that Jadeveon Clowney would make his way to the Browns. I'm trying. Should I call my shot on somebody else around the league? I don't really. I'm trying to think here. Travis Kelce. No, I'm just kidding. A guy around the league that I feel like will eventually just always gravitate to the Cleveland Browns. That'll come play for the Cleveland Browns one day. I should probably be better about calling my shot before that. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, Russell Wilson just seems to fit in Pittsburgh for some reason. He's on the play, man. Do they not even let him leave? He can do whatever he wants now. They let him go. So he can do what he wants. I can't believe that you have no fear whatsoever of him going to Pittsburgh. None. I do. I don't want to see them get anybody. I don't want them to be good.
I'm not saying they're not going to be good. It's just like,
it's not the same Russell Wilson.
Like,
you could tell me straight up.
I still think they're the worst team in the division.
And the other thing, you could tell me straight up, dude, it's not the same Russ. I think I need to get over the hump that this is not the same Russell Wilson anymore. And I saw him play, trust me. How can you fall off that bad? Seriously. Like that, how could it turn that bad that fast? I have a little worry. I have just a little worry that he's going to be serviceable. It's not that he's going to be back to the old Russ. Here's the thing. On the surface, they got better. He's better than Kenny Pickett. Would you agree with me on that?
Sure.
So they got better. That's why I don't like it. They got better from at least the standpoint of they're not playing Kenny Pickett anymore, if he truly signs there, which I assume he's going to. Where else would he go? They got better. I don't like that. I don't want to see that for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm just too worried about.
Could you imagine, though, the two worst contracts in NFL history now are the same division?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? And then you got Lamar and Burrow. But, dude, think about just on the surface that you have a division with Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and Russell Wilson. If I'd have told you that 2 years ago, that's like a Pro Bowl roster. You would think that. The meat grinder. Now, we know where Watson's at. We know Burrow's coming off injury, and we know where Russ is at. Lamar's the only one you sit there, and again, Lamar can't win in the playoffs. But that division of quarterbacks, find me a division that, what do they have combined? 4 Super Bowl appearances? No, 3. 1 for Burrow, 2 for, because Lamar's never been to the Super Bowl.
No.
Watson's never gone. But I guess there's maybe more accolades there. So man, look at I'll put it this way. You got 4 guys that if they play to their potential, they would be 4 of the top 6 betting favorites to win an MVP on their highest level. And they're in the same division. Russ isn't there anymore. I hope Watson's still able to get there. But what a shift that could be. So, again, you just saw he's on a plane to Pittsburgh?
Yeah. He was spotted.
These people in the... You know that guy got sued for tracking Taylor Swift's plane?
Yeah.
Per Ian Rappaport.
Dude, it doesn't bother me. If just go handle your business, beat Schittsburg like you should, and then let them go knock the Ravens and Bengals down a peg.
I gotta tell you, Pittsburgh's a good team, though.
I know they've never been a bad team, but
then they got a better quarterback.
Needle.
They're a good team that got a better quarterback. And you want to talk about their receiving core? You want to talk about Najee Harris or what? Sure. I'd like to knock them down as much as I can. I don't want them getting Russ Wilson. No. They got better at the one position that they were really, truly lacking in.
I could care less about it.
All right, fair enough. Let's catch our break. We come back. We're going to do the morning update. We're going to slide right into Noah Weisskopf for the OBR. He's been all over this Flacco stuff. I got a lot of stuff I got to get to with Noah. A lot of questions. Where do we stand with Flacco? Do you think Watson can handle that? The free agency buzz. Noah Weisskopf, 10:15, but we got the morning update coming up as well. Big day on Friday for us as always. Big play, big bets coming your way later today on Big Play. The network that you need, folks. We got all the shows. Our brand new Cincy show debuted last night with Drew Garrison and the Bengalorean. We got Blake and Greg Williams on Monday. We got Hanford. We got the Big Play Cleveland show. We got Drennan. We got Josh and Maria Cribbs. We got it all right here on Big Play. Follow us on Twitter at Big Play. We got YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. We're all over the place, and you can follow each of the individual shows there with us on Big Play. Morning update comes your way next. Stay with us. All right, let's dive into it. Stories you need to know for your Friday. We call it the morning update. All again, Noah Weisskopf about 10 minutes away. We got a lot of Flacco, a lot of Browns to talk about with that. But Ryan, take it away with the morning update.
Alrighty, well, the Cavs are back in action tonight. They take on the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota, Matt. But we all know they're going to be without Karl Anthony Towns, their star, but still have to worry about Anthony Edwards, who's been on a solid campaign of his own. But we know we will be missing a few of our players as well.
Yeah, I mean, tonight, I want to look at this as a potential playoff primer. Again, different conferences and all that, I understand, but you have a really good basketball team coming to home. Last time you had that, you beat the Celtics. You were shorthanded in that game, and you still found a way to get a win. I want to see the dog in this team. I want to see the dog in this team to show up, and I really think there's been a little bit of a callus built with this team. They've had to deal with so many injuries. They've had to fight through it. I think they're prepared. Now, the thing is, you can't have some of these games that they had with Sam Merrill and Dean Wade not hitting threes. You're going to need some of these. Somebody's got to step up. I hate to keep zeroing in on Darius Garland, but I'm going to. Bro, I need him. I need him to go off for 25. I need 30 out of him tonight. I said 40 earlier. I'll walk it back a little. I need 30. If I were to get on to Typico right now, and I went to the Cavs game tonight, NBA, Cavs, Timberwolves, same game parlay, to score 30 or more tonight, Darius Garland is plus 320. Should I put $5 in good faith on that?
I wouldn't, but it's up to you. Your money, not mine.
Come on, Darius. I need you tonight. He's got to be the one to step up and score. To step up and do something. Do I expect the Cavs to win tonight? I don't know. We're back at home. What are the Kelseys doing? Can we bring them back? Throw them in there. Get them going. They're good luck charms. I don't know. I feel like under different circumstances, I would instantly chalk this up as a loss. And I'm also a little shocked that this game is almost just like a pick'em. Does Rudy Gobert suck? Is he not good anymore?
He's the heavy favorite to be Defensive Player of the Year.
That's what I don't understand. Like, yeah, okay, they lost Karl Anthony Towns. They still have Anthony Edwards. They still have Rudy Gobert. I mean, a tough matchup. So we stayed away from Jared Allen in our boost just because I think he's going to have his hands full tonight. I just want to see how they play it out. I'm going with no expectations. I'm not quite to the point of I'm ready for the playoffs, but no expectations for this game. Go get it done tonight. Cavs.
All right, Matt. Well, the Browns continue to restructure contracts. The latest this morning, one Jedrick Wills, the left tackle. They free up about, I think, another, $3 million? So now they're sitting at there at what? We got a little more cap space here. What do we think we're working with? Was it like 10 mil? Or?
So it should be, I think they were at 6 or 7. If they really freed up that 10, then yeah, you're talking 17. If you're around that, I mean, good. That I think is you always want more. Because the other thing, you've got to free up cap space, not just for free agents. You have an allotment of draft picks that you have to pay. You have to keep some flexibility in the season to sign a Joe Flacco or sign somebody else. And the other thing, we got to ask Jack about this. Because I saw a graphic not too long ago that it was the Browns' actual salary cap with the money that they rolled over. Because, again, remember, you can roll money over. And the number that I saw means the Browns even have a bigger chunk than everybody else, but I do think everybody is operating on, that number. Let me Browns over the cap. Hang on. OTC. Shout out to them. So they have it as $6.6 million. I'm assuming they've not added the Jed Wills. No, they already added Jed Wills this morning. Huh. Well, maybe they didn't. I don't. Anyway, because I'm trying to look at the money that maybe they rolled over and not. I'm looking at base salary, a prorated signing bonus. Bonus signing. Yeah, Jed has a cap hit of 14.5. That's what it says. Ward's number down. Maybe they haven't redone it yet. I don't know. We'll have to see. But the Browns got to have some space. I don't expect them to make a lot of splashes. I think it's interesting on the Watson thing. We'll talk to that about that with Noah Weisskopf coming up in a little bit.
All righty, Matt. Well, we're already 8 days into March, and that means baseball's right around the corner.
It
so
is.
I'd feel amiss if I didn't bring some Guardians into our morning update.
Please.
How about this? Eric Karabell gave his bold predictions for each AL team. Would you like to hear the Guardians?
I would love to hear it.
All right, we go. This is from Eric Carabell, ESPN. Cleveland Guardians. Both of the Naylor brothers swat at least 20 home runs. You know about first baseman Josh Naylor. Catcher Bo Naylor, an afterthought in most ESPN leagues, breaks out in his first full season. He hits .242 and steals 9 bases too. Also, Tanner Bybee keeps improving, ends up as a top 20 fantasy starter with another sub-3 ERA. He also predicts Shane Bieber will make 14 starts for the Cubs after a midseason trade.
Yeah, Bieber trade, a big thing. There's so much going on with the Guardians right now. So number one, Bo Naylor's been dealing with back problems. He's had spasms, so he missed some time, but he should be ready to go for the regular season, so that's good. The rotation, the whole thing on Bieber this offseason was his velocity. There was the video that everybody sent of him working out, and he threw, 10 pitches over 93 miles an hour, and that was more than he threw all of last season in a workout. For him, it wasn't always about velocity, but it helps when you have that, and he can start working his curveball in more, fine. I think we're all just so, just stuck on the Bieber trade that it's most likely going to happen. I'm shocked it didn't happen this offseason, because if you want to look at it this way, your 5 starters, which again, I saw this from another reporter, that they said, how rare is it that the projected starting 5 for the Guardians were all drafted and developed by this team? Shane Bieber, Tristan McKenzie, Tanner Bybee, Gavin Williams, and Logan Allen. Now, I would like Carlos Carrasco to make it. He had a really bad year last year with the Mets, I know. You would imagine he would sub in there, or he'd be the first guy, and I think he would probably accept a minor league, assignment to stick around, and he's going to come up. Baseball, what's that one? Your 5 starters at the beginning of the year is not even the 5 starters you got a month into the season. Injuries happen plenty, so he will probably come up eventually. But if you trade Bieber and you got Espino waiting around and all that other kind of stuff. The interesting thing with the Guardians, on your Naylor take, I like Josh Naylor. I don't know if I'm quite over the moon on Josh Naylor, so maybe he's a potential trade. I don't know. It's the outfield. What are you going to do there? Miles Straw's been out. He's been sick. So now I look to that right field position. Do you bring up Chase DeLauder to start the season? They're putting Tyler Freeman out there. Where's Will Brennan going to play?
Manzardo.
Well, then the infield, Manzardo's got to be there too. Because the other thing is, again, put Manzardo at first base. Let Josh Naylor DH. I'm fine with that. Then this infield thing, Jimenez, is your second baseman. What are you going to do at short? Is Rocchio going to take that job? Where's Gabriel Arias going to fit into all of this? The positive that I have for the Guardians is I think they have pieces. Now, that might not be good for a rookie manager like Stephen Vogt, but at least they have guys where if you told me that you were going to start the season with Brian Rocchio as your everyday shortstop, I'm intrigued. Let's let that play out. And you can sub guys in and out, move them around. I mean, the issue is the first chunk of this season, it's going to be neurotic for fans because they're just waiting for the trade deadline when people are going to be calling for Bieber and Clase. And you don't want to see that. Clase looks unfreaking touchable in spring training right now. He looks good. But they're going to. So it's guarded optimism because you want to get in with the team. That's a really funny pun that I just thought about right there. I didn't even mean to do that. I apologize. They just flow through me. It's a guarded optimism about the Guardians because you want to go all in, but then you're fearful of what the trade deadline is going to be. And if you're 5, I don't even know, right? Who knows? They could be 5 games up in the Central. Does anybody in the Central look like extreme juggernauts? Not really. I mean, yeah, okay, I'm going to go to Tipico right now.
I can tell you what it is.
What?
Minnesota's the favorite.
Well, what are the odds?
I believe they're
minus 280?
I think it's 240.
Okay, that's where I would peg
Guardians and Detroit are tied for second best odds.
Really? Interesting. Let me find this here. Baseball. Dude, you can bet? You can bet NCAA, South Korean, and Japanese professional baseball on Tipico.
Nice.
You really wanted to get into that, you could. All right, Division League winner. Here we go. Central. Whoa. Twins are down to minus 118. Guardians and Tigers, you're right, plus 340. Royals, no. White Sox suck ass. That's what
there for the taking.
Mess around. Like, that's, I'm not saying the Guardians haven't been a stable organization and been good. Part of that is this division has been pretty trash.
Butt cheeks.
And we've been taking advantage of that. I'm going to get excited because it's baseball. It's my favorite sport growing up, and I love the game. I'm going to get excited about Manzardo and Chase DeLauder and even Rocchio and even Arias and all these guys. You've got pieces, okay? You've got pieces. How they figure that out, it'll remain to be seen. It'll be on the field, all right?
Alrighty, Matt. Well, the latest man to get paid in the NFL is cornerback Jalen Johnson for the Bears. He gets a 4-year, $76 million deal. That includes 54 guaranteed. I bring it up, Matt, because, well, these receivers are getting historically paid. Justin Jefferson's going to break a lot of records, and I suppose if you're going to pay them, you got to pay somebody to guard them.
We do. We've got breaking Russell Wilson news. You want to know why he's flying out of Newark? He had an exploratory meeting with the Giants. Ooh. Adam Schefter. Before traveling to Pittsburgh today, Russell Wilson stopped in New Jersey for what one source described as an exploratory meeting with the Giants. He's in Pittsburgh today to meet with the Steelers. Where else would he go? Would he go down to Atlanta, talk to the Falcons, or do you think they're out?
I don't know how legit the report is, but people were saying Kirk Cousins was looking to move his family to Atlanta.
Huh. All right. Minnesota? Did you buy the Trey Lance stuff to Minnesota? Where's Justin Fields shake out in all this?
That's the problem, though, with the Vikings.
Would that not just reignite this whole Browns Justin Fields thing?
If you're giving Jay Jett as that big bag, you got to have somebody that you know.
The two Justins, man, they could light it up there. I just want to say this, and I'm a big Justin Fields fan, and I'm watching where he goes, and I hope he has good. But if all these other jobs get taken up, Russ goes here, Kirk goes here, they get Trey Lance, and Justin Fields is just dangling out there, man. Tell me that it's not going to ramp up there with the Cleveland Browns, because I think that's exactly what it's going to happen. So, again, Russell Wilson going to meet with Pittsburgh, but he had a little exploratory meeting there with the Giants. Well, then the Giants got to get rid of Danny Dimes then, would they not? How are they going to do that? I don't know how it goes. All right, we got to talk a lot of quarterback. We got to talk a lot of Browns. No better person to do that than Noah Weisskopf for the OBR. Noah joins us. Browns with Noah, Twitter, Instagram, all over the place. Noah, you have been all over this Joe Flacco situation with the Browns. We've had some spirited debates this week about Flacco. So, Noah, just the latest, and I start with the most open-ended question I can be. Where do we stand right now today with Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, so right now it's sort of a waiting game. You see if something's going to happen before Monday. Obviously, as I reported, Flacco and his reps are open to a deal, agreeing to a deal before he hits the open market, before other teams can talk to him. So we'll see if something gets done before then. I think as of now, it's more of a waiting game. The two sides have been talking. As of a couple of days ago, they hadn't had any discussions about what the money would look like. But I do expect that to change here within the next couple of days leading up to Monday.
Especially, we've been talking Russell Wilson this morning. He's meeting with the Giants. He's been going to Pittsburgh. He maybe wants to see how this out. Trubisky signs his deal. I get all of it. No, what I want to do now is I'm going to lay out my side, my opinion, my take on this whole Flacco thing. I'd like your reaction. You can tell me I'm an idiot. Wouldn't be the first nor last person to do that. Or you can tell me I agree with it. So here's where I'm at. I'm not against Joe Flacco coming back. I'm just not. That's fine. What I do think is there's a little game playing going on here where Flacco's saying, I'd love to come back. He's tugging at the heartstrings of the fans. I do think it's interesting that the Browns are so willing to be open to him coming back. But for me, this whole season is Deshaun Watson. I'm not sitting him at all other than injury, even if it goes really bad. So then you don't necessarily need Joe Flacco. And even in that scenario, if Watson is so bad and you finally get the decision that it's over, the season's lost anyway, you don't need Flacco around, then the discussion about what that means to Watson, or if you think Deshaun Watson could handle Joe Flacco being here. And the final piece to this whole cog is Joe Flacco's only good for another year or two. If Joe Flacco was 28, I'd have a much different conversation than I'm having right now. I just think if this season is all Watson figuring out what he is or isn't, then you don't really need Joe Flacco. People are so hooked on what he did, which I get was great, and he led you to that the playoffs and all that, which I love, which is fine. That's great. I just don't know if I see the need Noah, for Joe Flacco here. Any of that you agree, disagree, jump on that, please.
Yeah, I hear a lot. So that's a very common theme is like, it's going to be awkward kind of thing. And here's the thing with that is I know Flacco's camp is not worried about that. The Browns are not worried about that. Deshaun would not be worried about that, right? Deshaun knows this is his team. And the thing is, it would be that way with any backup quarterback. The Browns are really high on backup quarterbacks. As we've seen, they gave Case Keenum a big deal when Andrew Berry first got here. I think it was 3 years, $18 million for a backup quarterback. I mean, they obviously invest and find a lot of need for a good backup quarterback if he has to come in and play. And you saw it last year is you want to, if Deshaun were to go down again with an injury, you want a guy that can step in, that can win you games down the stretch. And I don't think that Flacco being in Cleveland would be, show Watson, like, look, like if you don't perform, like this guy's coming in behind you, it's his team. If he gets hurt, then that's where the guy comes in. I don't think that anyone would anticipate that, it would be a debate for Flacco, a real debate at least for Flacco to go and start ahead of Watson if he's fully healthy. I don't think that that's, you can't plan on that. I mean, it's fully dependent on how Watson plays, and you can't expect him to, not be playing well and have to insert a backup quarterback. Like that's pretty extreme circumstances, but they're going to look, even if it's not Flacco, if they can't end up getting Flacco and he ends up going elsewhere, then they're still going to bring in a backup that's capable of winning you games down the stretch. So we're going to be having the same conversation no matter what heading into the season. But
I do think it's different, Noah. Noah Weisskopf joining us to the OBR, Browns with Noah on Twitter, Instagram. I think it's different because it is Flacco. And the other part, I think what happened last year was 1 in a million. I think that was a lightning in a bottle that you caught. Don't know if you could do that again. And that's where I'd invest maybe more in the future. We're going to talk to Deshaun Watson here in a minute, but the potential of moving on from Watson or what that future might hold, I just don't see that juice necessarily with Joe Flacco. Do you think Flacco is going to be able to talk about the 1 in a million thing? Do you think other teams view that as legit? Like, do you think there's going to be a lot of competition for Joe Flacco out there?
So here's the thing. To me, based on conversations I've had, it seems that it's not anticipated that he's going to get a phone call that he'll be able to get a starting job or compete for a legit starting job. Right. So at that point, you're kind of taking everything into consideration. And I was told, like, this is so real that Joe Flacco loves Cleveland. Like, he absolutely loved his experience. He loves the city. He loves the people. He loved the entire experience of him last year, signing with Cleveland, leading them to the playoffs, and ultimately, the first round exit. But everything about it, he loved. Mm-hmm. And so that is a huge part as to why he wants to remain in Cleveland. Right. And like, I don't think, obviously if a team calls on Monday and says, here, like, we want you to come, like, battle for our starting quarterback job. Like, yeah, he's probably going to take that if you don't get him locked up before then. Right. And yeah. I just don't think, and I know that people in his camp don't really believe that that's a possibility. Who knows, right? On Monday, they could get a call and that's the thing. But I don't think that anyone really sees that as possibility. So in terms of being a backup, I think that he'd be most comfortable in Cleveland. And that's obviously what he wants to do, is remain somewhere that he's, found comfort in the last 6 months.
To Deshaun Watson, do you think he'd be able to handle that with Watson? If Flacco came back and he's here, we know how this fan base would go with wanting Joe Flacco to be in there. Do you think Deshaun Watson, or should that even be a factor, Noah? Do you think that's even something that we should even be discussing of if Deshaun Watson could handle that?
I don't think it should be a factor, but I do think it's valid for people to be discussing, right? I mean, there's a lot of outside noise that's been going around ever since Deshaun got to Cleveland. And I think you just more so have to be confident, if you're the Browns, that that's something that he can handle. And, outside of, away from Deshaun, I know obviously it's a big part of it, but Flacco's got to be that adult in the room too. I mean, if he re-signs with the Browns, he understands that he's the backup. He understands that he's there to support a guy. I mean, look, in New York, he supported Zach Wilson for a stretch of the season, and he acknowledged, like, this is the starter, this is my role, and I'm going to do the best I can in this role. So if you get Flacco back, that's the role he's going to take. And regardless of what the outside media says, they try to ignore it as much as they can. Inside the building, I mean, Flacco is going to be supporting Deshaun as much as he possibly can and make him feel as comfortable as possible.
We got the news this morning about the Jed Wills restructure, and we have your colleague Jack Duffin on all the time, and Jack's so great with the cap stuff. But Noah, I have been of the idea that the restructuring, avoiding the Watson stuff and trying to take a big chunk out of it this year. Any thoughts on that? If they haven't restructured him yet, they've been able to free up some cap space. you see where I'm going with that? Like, I think you take the big chunk out of it now where you got the extra money. You've been able to do it with the salary cap jumping. Try to do it now. And listen, it is for maybe finding that back door out of this deal with the Deshaun Watson stuff. What do you read into the restructures? And if anybody else that you look at that are easy restructures for the Browns to coming up here?
Yeah, I don't know necessarily if it's just pushing it down the road versus just taking it all on this season. I think that it pretty much depends on free agency, right? If they're going to make a big splash and they need the money, they're going to restructure. And it's not really a question to that. But yeah, I think that his contract just in general is, obviously flexible in the way that they can basically add voidable years. They can do all this different stuff to make it so it's less of a hit on one season. But I think that it's still open. Like, I still see a world in which they restructure that before Monday, before Wednesday, one of those days. And I think that you can't really ever rule that out with a contract that big. But there's a couple other guys down that they could also restructure. I know that the Jed Will stuff just happened this morning, but I think that there's always avenues in which you can do that. I think that the Nick Chubb stuff is still really relevant.
I was going to ask, what's your vibe and your take on all that with Chubb? His future, the restructure, any of that?
His future's in Cleveland. I can't see a world in which he's away. Andrew Berry straight up told us that. But I think that, it's going to be interesting to see the restructure because I know that I'll say that I don't know how easy it'll be to agree to a restructure between Chubb and the Browns. I think that it'd have to be a middle ground there, but they're going to work through that and probably, I imagine, have to restructure it at some point. It just depends on how much it's restructured, what they get out of that. So, but I don't see a world in which Nick is not on the Browns next season.
I like hearing that. But yeah, you're right. No, I mean, that's tough to go to a guy and go, you got to have to take a pay cut here and adding the money or adding the years to it. They got to get that figured out. Free agency starts Monday. I'm going to hold you to this. I'm going to clip this and send it out, so be prepared. Big splash or a little splash for the Browns in free agency? No, I'm just kidding. We wouldn't do that to you.
I'll be honest with you. I know the Christian Wilkins stuff makes a lot of sense, but I don't see them making that move.
Me neither.
I mean, I just don't. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I would be surprised if they give him a massive deal. I just would. And I don't know exactly how much he's going to get. I was reading like between 22, 25 million a year. I can't see the Browns paying Dalvin Tomlinson that much money on the D tackle position and then bringing in Wilkins, who I know is versatile, but still, I mean, would it be a great move? Sure. I don't think that, you could look at it after they do it and say like, this is not a good move. Like that's like, if they make that move, you're going all in. So I don't think that they're going to do that if I had to guess, obviously. But I think that they make a splash. I don't think it's a small splash. I think it's a medium splash. I think Mike Williams makes a ton of sense. I really do. I think that even if they are shopping him before he hits free agency, I think that the Browns should and would potentially go and trade maybe a 7th or a 6th round pick, the ones that Andrew Berry don't even like to draft anyway, it seems. I think that they do an Amari Cooper type deal without giving up that 5th or whatever it was. I think that they could give a super late round pick just to get him and not let him hit free agency. Obviously, having them take on most of the money because that's where it's going to ultimately go, I assume, is ending up just cutting him. So I think that even if he gets cut, I think the Browns should and will be in those sweepstakes for a guy like that. And, he just needs to stay healthy. He's a super talented wide receiver. It seems like whenever you watch him on the field, he makes some brilliant catch 40 yards down the field. It really does. And so I think that their connection from the time they had at Clemson, I think that it just makes a lot of sense. And I think that it could be another receiver like that. I don't think it's going to be some massive Christian Wilkins type splash. I think that, Calvin Ridley's going to get a lot of money. So I don't even know if it would be someone like that. But I think that, a Gabe Davis with the Dorsey connection, I think that a Mike Williams type of, wide receiver too makes some sense.
I didn't think about the Clemson thing. That's a good call on that. I'll give you another Michael that I'd like, Michael Thomas. And same thing, injured, has not played a full season since 2019, but I'd be a little intrigued by that. I think that's, kind of where we're at. I want Calvin Ridley. I don't think I'm getting Calvin Ridley. Even some of the next tier guys, I think I'd be fine with them going to get like a Gabe Davis type of that. But then, you roll the dice on a Michael Thomas. I don't say roll the dice about a Mike Williams, and the money certainly has to work. But I'm more of the wide receiver where I want more quantity in here. I just want to get some more guys in here, relative of skill or what you could grab out of them, sure. But I just need a couple of guys knowing that receiving core to come in, and that's really where my focus. I want a D tackle, that's fine. I'd like that other edge rusher. It's all wide receiver for me, and I still would like to draft one at 54 as well.
Yeah, but then that's where it gets really complicated is if you continue to bring in these, valuable wide receiver assets that you can't really just part ways with before they cut down to the 53. And that's when the room gets really, really crowded.
Sure.
And not only that, do you run into issues with guys like David Bell, who, had a great end of the season last year. Put it for what it is. I mean, he played really well. He made plays. And then you look at, if you continue to crowd that room with guys like that, you have a Cedric Tillman who's sitting there waiting to develop, waiting to get his opportunity. So then, I mean, you have Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore. If you bring in 2 more guys, then that's 4. And then you have your last 2 or a 3rd round pick, Cedric Tillman, and then David Bell, who had a great end of the years last year. So it just gets really crowded. And if you want those guys to develop into something, you got to give them time on the field. So that's where that ultimately comes down to. But yeah, if you're making a run at the Super Bowl, then you bring in guys that can get you there.
Would you be afraid or all worried if Russell Wilson went to Pittsburgh? Ryan says absolutely not. He thinks Russ is and here's where I'm at. I think Russ isn't the same either, but I know he's better than Kenny Pickett. So I know they got better from that standpoint. He supposedly met with the Giants. No, would you be at all worried if Russ Wilson went to Pittsburgh?
If you're the Browns, I don't think you're thrilled that a guy like that's done it at that level before. I don't think that you're thrilled that a guy like that, if he were signed with Pittsburgh. I think that they really made an underrated move this offseason, Pittsburgh did, with Arthur Smith as their OC. I think that can really help in terms of what they're trying to do on offense. And I think that if you get a quarterback that's obviously better than what Kenny Pickett is, I think that they have weapons. They have, they have George Pickens, they have Deontay Johnson, they have Pat Freiermuth, they have Jalen Warren's a really good running back. I mean, he just is. They have Najee still there. So I think that they have weapons. And if they get a quarterback in there that can feed the ball to some of those guys on a consistent basis, I think that, what you're going to get with Pittsburgh every year with the Mike Tomlin-led Steelers. You're going to get that around 500 team. And if they can continue to, play well defensively, I think that that's another solid team that you're going to have to worry about, especially going on the road there once a year, playing them twice a year. I mean, that's a team that you're going to have to scheme for.
Any quarterbacks that you feel like, I just call your shot, like Fields, Kirk Cousins, even Russ, is there anyone that you feel really strong about that makes a lot of sense of where somebody is going to go?
Yeah, I think Kirk Cousins ends up in Atlanta if I had to guess.
Okay.
I think that I have just some odd feeling that the Vikings end up with J.J. McCarthy in the draft. I think that they somehow trade up and get him. I think the Giants roll out Daniel Jones. I think Russell Wilson ends up in Pittsburgh.
That means Justin Fields is out there. Find a spot.
That's a really interesting one. I'd be
lying to you, if I didn't say I'd think about it, man. I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't think about it.
So here's the thing, too, going back to the Flacco stuff is like you can't sign a younger guy that has potential in that position because you have a DTR that they trust. And
right.
They're going to have to keep working through that and see what they can get out of him in an eventual backup. But, yeah, I don't know. Quarterback-wise, I don't know where Fields goes, honestly. It's a tough one, right? Because you're going to have to pay him after the year. So I don't really know what makes a ton of sense on that one. But, yeah, we'll see. I think Kirk ends up in Atlanta. JJ to the Vikings.
All right, good stuff. Great stuff. No, really appreciate it. You've been all over. Oh, Ryan's got one more thing for you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought up DTR because I got to ask, where does he stand in all of this? I mean, one of the weirdest rookie seasons I think I've seen for a quarterback, a late round draft guy. Obviously, he gets thrusted into that weird situation. He's got to start on a late notice in Baltimore, doesn't play well. Then he plays good enough to go beat the Steelers at home. Plays decent in that Broncos game, but he gets injured and it has to come out. I mean, where do you see? Do you get a vibe the Browns are still confident? Is he just going to be this third inactive the whole season? Just what have you gathered from DTR and where he stands in this organization?
Yeah, I think they're still confident. It's a rookie year and it was a really tough position. Honestly, he got basically that hit against Denver was. I mean, that was it was serious, right? Like he took a shot there. But I think that it was a really weird rookie year, and the Browns definitely still have confidence in him. We'll see. Maybe they sign a Flacco to a 1-2 year deal just to be that backup, and then hopefully they can get what they wanted out of DTR at the beginning of last year is just, that backup role. But I think that the Browns also opened their eyes a little bit in terms of they always wanted a guy that they can mold after their starting quarterback. Like Deshaun, DTR played a similar play style, and I think that watching and seeing what Joe Flacco did and came in there and played his own way, and Kevin Stefanski sort of matched him with that. I think that sort of opens their eyes a little bit too, as to like, we don't need a backup that can play the exact same offense as Deshaun, because ultimately your backup's never going to be able to be the same as your starting quarterback. So you're going to have to tailor your offense either way. So I think that it opened their eyes a little bit that, look, like Joe, we ran a different offense. Kevin Stefanski's a great offensive mind. Paired with Ken Dorsey, they can, make something work out of any system type quarterback.
No, great stuff. Browns would know. He's been all over it. Enjoy free agency next week, man, and we'll talk to you real soon, all right?
Thank you. Let's do it.
There he goes. Noah Weiskopf. Great stuff, dude. I'm telling you, Noah's been in on this stuff, man. He's been all over this stuff.
Man.
He's been on. I'm grabbing on what he said there. And again, the smoke is there for Kirk to go to Atlanta. Would then that not be Minnesota just will take Justin Fields? But then that's an in-division trade.
Yeah.
Okay, scratch that off. And I do buy his J.J. McCarthy going there.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot of mocks. But then
Fields.
But then what do you do with that Jettas contract?
What do you mean?
Because I understand that you can't let a guy like Justin Jefferson walk. Like, no way. I think he's the best receiver in the league right now.
I would agree with that.
You draft J.J. McCarthy. Who do you get? Because, do you roll him out? You need someone to throw him the ball.
Okay, but here's what you do. You go to Justin Jefferson, who's not going to turn this deal down. If they give him $30 million to make him the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, which is reportedly what's going to happen, he's signing that deal. And then you sell him on, we are going to try to turn this around. And even if you don't, even with that contract, which is asinine and crazy, not asinine, it's just crazy. It's huge. You'd still be able to trade him. If you think he's still going to be in that prime of his career, even with that tag, somebody'd pick him up. Somebody would pick him up. Players love free agency. There's nothing more than a professional athlete loves than free agency. Why? You get to, in a way, pick your destination, but also you get overpaid. It's very rare. That's the whole point of free agency. It's the open market. It's capitalism. How much am I worth and how much can I get? Somebody will overpay for you. The thing is, with a player, you're right. You don't want to go down as one of the best guys to ever do it, but on a crappy team over and over and over and over and over again. But at this point, if I'm putting myself in Justin Jefferson's body for a second, I would say I'm going to sign this deal now, get my money, because, again, the second deal in your NFL is what gets you paid. Hopefully, I would have time in 3 years. What's Justin Jefferson, 26, 27? You'd hope in a couple of years it goes really bad. He might even be younger than that.
I'd say he's 24.
Might even be younger than that. You're right. I'm probably putting too much on. Sorry. In a couple of years, this isn't going well. I'll get out of here and go, sign for less money and go somewhere else. The thing is, like Mike Evans, right? Mike Evans got his Super Bowl. He got it. If he didn't, I don't think he'd be in Tampa right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I don't think he'd be there. But he got it. So you're good. You don't want to go down that path of being, I was one of the best guys and I never even got to play, let alone win one, but at least to go to one or go to a playoff game. And they've had success in Minnesota. I like to also, and Noah's right on, the fact that Minnesota is like, we're good on Kirk. Go ahead. It's that soft rebuild, which I've said over and over again, I don't think ever works.
They're paying bones to TJ Hawkinson too.
Well, maybe those are the two guys you say you're going to build around. And if Cousins leaves, which it seems so much like it, but if you're Atlanta, I guess you need something for the now.
Atlanta's way too talented to not have a quarterback right now.
Right, but I'm saying, why wouldn't you just go get Justin Fields?
Maybe
there's more upside. Again, I would tell you, Kirk Cousins is better than Justin Fields right now. I have this bias. I have this thing about Justin Fields. I don't know what it is. I think he could be really good.
Well, one's also a free agent, one's not.
Yeah, but you get Fields much cheaper. And you're talking about right now, you need to go win right now, you'd probably go with Kirk Cousins. I get that. Yeah, and to tie it all back to the Browns and just this circle, and not that you're entering this or anything, but you got to watch this stuff. You want to make sure that these teams don't turn into be something, But it's a lot, and I think would you say that there's been more quarterback movement over the last couple of years than we've ever seen? So again, if you
I think just
really
more notable quarterbacks.
That's what I'm saying. If you really need to get on the Watson deal, at least there's options. Let's say that we were in this position right now that Deshaun Watson was not our starting quarterback. There's names. There's guys. There's available guys out there, and there probably will be next year too. There's not going to be enough spots for everybody. We keep sleeping. Again, in Tennessee, we think Will Levis is going to start there. What New England is going to do? You know, you shocked that they're not even interested in Russell Wilson? At this point, not interested in him. Met with the Giants, meeting with the Steelers. A lot of interesting stuff. All right, let's just catch our final break in the morning. When we come back, we'll jump into a little bit of time hop. It's funny, I got Russ in time hop today. Isn't that quite quinky dink? We'll get to that coming up. We got a lot in time hop. We'll revisit our Cavs question. We'll wrap this thing up on a Friday, including our bracket and our Cavs boost. Stay with us. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. All right, let's get into time op. It's funny, I got Russ Wilson that we'll get to on that. A few other things, including one of the biggest fights. We'll talk about boxing this weekend. One of the biggest ones in history. We'll get to time op and tell you what happened this day in history, including just 2 years ago today, Ryan Denver officially traded for Russell Wilson, which at the time was the biggest trade in NFL history from a draft, player standpoint. Watson's deal, sure, but again, on the surface, you only gave up 3 1s and a 2, right? And the guaranteed money. Russ was ones and players and all that other kind of stuff. So technically, Russell had the bigger trade. And certainly they, 2 years later, very much regret it because he's not even in their city anymore. He's in New York on his way to Pittsburgh.
That's when you need the Matthew McConaughey interstellar.
No, don't do it, no! I mean, would he have been better for, it looks like geniuses, the Seattle Seahawks, getting out of that as soon as they did. And somebody had the write-up of what all those trades turned out to be, and eventually it's what they passed up on too. I don't know why. Somehow Garrett Wilson was involved in that. I don't know whether it was Seattle gave up that pick or how he got to the Jets. I don't remember all that, but it's the trickle-down effect is insane. And they got out of the Russ Wilson business at the right time. Also 2 years ago today, Aaron Rodgers agreed to a new 4-year, $200 million deal with the Packers, which we thought he was going to stay there. Lasted one more season and left for the Jets. And then they re-signed him to another deal too, didn't they not? Or no? Yeah, I think they redid his deal somehow, some way. I don't know, but re-signed there. Thought maybe he'd finish it out in Green Bay. 3 years ago today, the Cowboys signed Dak Prescott to his deal. Dak Prescott overrated, underrated? You can only pick one.
I can only pick one.
You can only pick one. You can't say he just is what he is. He's either overrated or he's underrated.
Well, I think for his money, maybe a little overrated, but I don't think by any means he's a bad quarterback. I think he's been one of the most consistent quarterbacks for a while.
Everybody wants to put that stink on Mike McCarthy about not, like, dude, what's that? And I will say this. Dak has no offensive weapons other than CeeDee Lamb. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with Tony Pollard. Yeah, we'll take Amari Cooper. Thank you very much. They got nothing else down there. Nothing else going on down there.
Tony Pollard ain't bad.
Oh, I'm not a big Tony Pollard guy.
When he was hurt, when he came back, though, he was decent.
I guess. I didn't see that, but Dak got his deal.
Better than Zeke?
Well, not in prime, no.
Well, no, not in prime, but the last 2 of the years he was.
Yeah, because Zeke got, it's called for what it is, put on some weight. He wasn't the same guy anymore. There were some flashes, and I'm not saying I want Zeke Elliott. There were some flashes with the Patriots. I go, there's Zeke. There's Zeke. But, hey, man, he got paid. Running back, short shelf life. It is what it is. This one's pretty cool because going back to 2020, 4 years ago today, the Cavs had 4 players record double-doubles. I should probably pull up to see what game this was. I apologize. The 2020, or actually there's 2019-2020 Cavs. Okay? Here it is. Roster, JB Bickerstaff, after John Beeline, which is a little interesting. All right, let me scroll on down here. 3-8. All right. We beat the Spurs in overtime, 132 to 129. And in the process of doing that, the Cavs had 4 different players record a double-double. Ryan, do you want to guess the 4 players that did it?
This was what year again?
2020. So now here's the fun thing. The last time the Cavs had done that was in March 24th of 1990. So they went 30 years between 4 players having a double-double, and they did it this day, 2020, when they beat the Spurs. Your guesses on the players that had it?
Colin Sexton?
No.
Really?
No. Played in the game, had 26, didn't have a double-double.
Wow.
No.
Oh, let's see. Was Darius there yet?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. Wow. Was Lauri Markkanen in there yet?
No.
And Jared Allen wasn't there yet?
No. We're going the way back.
Wow.
Machine. Way back machine on this.
Jordan Clarkson?
No, that's a good guess. He was already gone.
Was Rodney Hood gone?
Yep. This was a really bad basketball team.
Kevin Love?
Kevin Love was 1. He had 14 points, 18 rebounds. So that's 1.
Okay.
Of those guys that you mentioned that we all traded for, there was one that stayed around. And he was a part of this.
Channing Frye?
No. Another tall guy.
Okay. Oh, man. Putting up a stinker right now.
All right, do you want the layup on this?
Yeah.
He has a familial tie to the last time the Cavs had 4.
Larry Nance.
That is correct. The junior had 19 and 10. And then back in 1990, Larry Nance Sr. was a part of that. So you got 2. There's 2 more.
Are these guards?
One is a guard, one is a forward.
One is a forward.
A forward that we actually have discussed semi-recently on the show. And he kind of stuck it to the Cavs last week.
What? Stuck it to the Cavs last week.
What was one of the games we lost last week?
The Bulls?
Yeah. Who had 23 rebounds in that game?
Oh my God, Andre Drummond?
28 and 17 for the Cavs.
I forgot he was ever in a Cavs uniform.
And then the last one is a guard. I don't know if you'll be able to get this. 14 points, 11 assists for hoop.
See, now I'm just pulling names like Mike Dunleavy.
No, not that. You're going too far back. If I took a big old slug of my coffee right now.
What?
Coffee?
Coffee?
Finals? Drank too much? Had to go to the hospital?
I didn't know this was a thing.
What? You didn't know about that? Matthew Dellavedova.
Oh.
You don't remember in the first playoff run? He
he-
drank too much coffee, got dehydrated. They had to go give him an IV.
I didn't
You don't
know
remember
I
that?
completely forgot about Delhi.
Delly, 14 and 11. Love, 14 and 18 rebounds. Drummond, 28 and 17. Larry Nance, 19 and 10. For the Cavs, 4 double-doubles. Should I go back to 1990 to see who did on March 24th?
Yeah.
Hang on.
I got to imagine it's got to be, like you said, Nance.
So that was one of the ties, was Larry Nance Jr. So again, this day 2020, the Cavs had 4 players record a double-double. Larry Nance Jr., Matthew Dellavedova, Kevin Love, and Andre Drummond. That was the first time that it happened since March 24th of 1990. The interesting thing is, senior and junior, Larry Nance Sr. did it in 1990. Larry Nance Jr. is a part of it in 2020. So if I go back to 1990, March 8th, we lost to the Golden State Warriors 145 to 105. For the Cavs, okay. No, that can't be right because this isn't. Oh, March 24th, not March 8th. I'm an idiot. Sorry. March 24th. March 24th. All right, they beat the Nets 115 to 108. Sorry, I was off on my dates. The players that did it for the Cavs in 1990. Mark Price, 24 and 15.
Doherty.
Brad Doherty, 12 and 12. Larry Nance, 12 and 10. And then off the bench, Hot Rod Williams, 17 and 10. So there's your little bit of trivia on the day for you when it comes to the double-double. This day, 2017, Todd McShay released his top 32 prospects. Myles Garrett, very clearly number 1. Here's the shocking thing. Mitch Trubisky was the only quarterback in the top 32. No Watson and no Patrick Mahomes. Very interesting on that. This day, 2017, also, Mike Garafolo saying that Browns veterans had been talking to free agents, telling them the team plans to turn it around quickly and hoping to recruit them to the Browns.
Respect the grind,
I guess you tried very much on that. This day, 2015, a report out of Houston that the Browns wanted to sign Ryan Mallett to come up here and play alongside Brian Hoyer. R.I.P. to Ryan Mallett. He was a guy I always thought would come play for the Browns at some point, but Brian Hoyer was here. This day also, 2014, the Cavs retired Zydrunas Ilgauskas' number. Jersey retirements, Tristan, all these other guys, it is what it is. Also this day, 2014, it's a sad one, but there are a lot of conspiracy theories on this and shows. Malaysian Flight 370 disappeared. Did you watch that documentary on Netflix?
No.
Dude, they bring up some theories, man. I just think that it is so crazy in the technology, and I know the ocean is wide and vast, but in the world that we live in, they can't find it. Still haven't found it. Whatever happened to it? Who knows? This day, 2001, the Orioles put Albert Bell on the 60-day DL with degenerative hip issues. He would never play baseball again. That video's making the rounds about Bell and Grimsley. You know about that, right?
Is that when he trucks him?
No, that was Fernando Vina. You don't know about the cork bat with Albert Bell?
Oh, yeah.
Jason Grimsley climbed through.
Yeah, I heard that.
So they caught him using a cork bat. They put the bat in the umpire's locker room, and Jason Grimsley went through the HVAC system to try to get the bat. So I got a lot of people. That video is making the rounds, right? And I said, go Google the pictures of the HVAC vent. It's all torn up, and he tried to get through, and he got all in trouble. It is what it is. The fight of the century, Ryan, was this day, 1971. Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier. It was Ali's first fight in 3 years after he was denied boxing licenses due to Vietnam draft dodging. Frazier won by unanimous decision, handing Muhammad Ali his first loss of his professional career. This day, 1936, it was the first ever stock car race on the beaches of Daytona, which would, of course, lead into NASCAR on the Daytona 500. Very happy birthday goes out to former Browns and Ravens and Bengals offensive lineman Kevin Zeitler, Hines Ward, probably shouldn't do that today, Kenny the Jet Smith, Freddie Prinze Jr., and James Vanderbeek. who I always just thought was Mox in Varsity Blues. I didn't know he was in Dawson's Creek. I didn't know Maggie Gyllenhaal. I didn't know Katie Holmes was in Dawson's Creek or Michelle Williams.
Never seen it.
Never seen it either. Like these famous actors and actresses, like, oh yeah, Dawson's Creek. Never watched it. All right, 3 for you today. A couple of movies and a television show. We start this day, 2019. She was meant to rewrite the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and she got her debut movie this day, 2019.
No, Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel is correct. I liked Captain Marvel.
I like Brie Larson a lot.
I thought of the Avengers movies, like I'm talking about like Endgame and Infinity War, she had some of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
You know, she shows up and Peter's holding the thing. She goes, I'm Peter Parker. She says, hi, Peter Parker.
The post-credit, that was, I think, my favorite post-credit. His pager goes off and it's Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that gets you going.
Yeah, that was like...
It'll never be... I'm sorry to tell you, because I know they're trying... Did you see the news on Deadpool?
No.
They called Vinnie Jones to play Juggernaut, and he said they couldn't do it. And I was like, no, like, damn it, why not? Like, I would die to have Vinnie Jones back as the Juggernaut. He's one of my favorite X-Men. But anyway, like, they're all going back and forth because they're trying to find how they're going to do Marvel, and there is some superhero fatigue, I think, for the team-up movies. You got to understand, we lived in a great time. Those movies were fantastic. I cried at the end of Infinity War and embarrassed the hell out of my wife. That's a true story. You'll never have it. But it was a good run while they had it. All right, that's up. All right, next up, this day, 1996. And I start by saying, first off, there's now a television show based off of this movie. And it's very episodic to a point. They consider it a black comedy crime film where it's a lot of things that you shouldn't be laughing at, but you are. And it was written, directed, and produced by two brothers. And some feel like this is their mark.
Fargo.
That is correct. The Coen brothers, you're right. Francis McDormand, yes. If you ask me, I got a thing for Lebowski, so you know me with the Coen brothers.
Yeah.
But yes, Fargo.
They're also in Marvel.
What's that?
They were part of Marvel.
Were they?
I think.
You sounds good to me. Joel and Ethan Coen. Dude, is it 54 already?
Yeah.
Holy cow. All right, filmography. Here we go. I don't see it here. But can I just get you a couple of these, man? Fargo, Lebowski, No Country for Old Men.
I'm dumb. I'm thinking of the Russo brothers.
The Russo brothers, yes. Those guys are all Marvel. That's all that they did. But, man, Coen brothers, that's a good three right there. All right, final one. A television show animated this day, 1993. MTV, very inappropriate at times.
Beavis and Butthead?
That is correct.
Ooh.
I was waiting for it. I knew the gears were turning. Beavis and Butthead happened this day, 1993. All right, the winner for a bracket. We give it out to Scorchers. Congratulations.
Our
victory.
first member of the Final Four.
That is the Final Four, folks. Next week, South Side. I'll send the tweet out already. I'm talking Berea, Brunswick, Strongsville, Medina, anywhere around there for your favorite bar in Cleveland. Brook Park, future home of the Cleveland Browns, maybe?
Hopefully not.
I'll tell you this. If you think it's Southside, send it, and we'll make the decision on Monday if it's not or whatever. So it'll Southside next week. Then we'll get to the West Side and downtown as well, coming up for our best bar in Cleveland. Congratulations to Scorchers. They are in the final. One more time for our boost, Ryan. Now, okay. There was a little snap. We sent Isaac Okoro threes. They put Isaac Okoro assists. I don't have an update on it. They might flip it. They might not. Maybe that's good juju.
Yeah, maybe.
Because we were going to put Sam Merrill in the other night, and we put something else in instead, and Sam Merrill didn't hit a three all night. So maybe that's good juju. I don't know. Tipico, use that code Fontana100 when you sign up. Deposit bet $25, and you'll get $100 in bonus bets geared up, ready to go for a strong weekend with Tipico. I'm going to do a boost tomorrow for the fight.
Yeah, let's do it.
You want to do it now? We'll do it after the show.
The only problem is you don't think Sugar Sean's going to win.
We can keep him out of it. Do you think Page is going to win? Venom Page? He's got Kevin Holland. I think he's going to win.
I don't know too much about the undercards.
Oh, okay, I do. So we'll figure that out, but we'll get a little fight boost going on for the weekend. We got golf, got NASCAR, get betting with our friends at Tipico. Appreciate all the support this week. Thanks so much to everybody who joined us as well. Following on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, we're across it, and we'll join in a Monday edition for Legal Tampering. Legal Tampering coming up on Monday. I'm excited for. Enjoy the hell out of the weekend. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, Take it easy.